What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Crunch Time here on RotoGrinders. It is a Saturday evening. That means we've got you covered for a 9-game slate tonight in Major League Baseball. A Saturday that was skewed towards the evening games. They keep us guessing sometimes with the schedule on Saturdays, but we've got the 7 o'clock slate here tonight as your main one. 3 of the regulars from the weekend crew with you here tonight. You've got myself, that's Justin Van Zuden, STL Cardinals 84. We've got TJ Zwarich on one side, TJ doing the usual double duty on the weekends, producing and co-hosting as well. TJ, what's up? How you been?
Been pretty great actually. My wife and baby just got home a couple minutes ago, but they were at the lake last night, and so I started making myself a list of really all-time movies that are considered all-time great movies that I've either seen once when I was younger or haven't seen at all. And so I'm making myself a list, and I'm going to just try and knock off all the blind spots. And so last night I watched Interstellar. Today I watched No Country for Old Men, and I'm just going to keep trying to make sure I don't have any big movie blind spots. And then so I had a good time watching some movies. In between Interstellar, I watched half of it, and then I went to a golf simulator with a couple buddies, had some drinks, played some golf, and then came back, finished Interstellar. And as the movie was finishing, I pull open Draftkings, and I noticed that I won the Minimax. So
Pretty good day
last night, pretty good day today, and ready to keep it going.
Awesome. That sounds like a pretty eventful start to what should be a good weekend. We got Tim Buell alongside as well. Tim, what's up?
Yeah, not much. We were talking pre-show, Justin, about how there's only so many weekend baseball slates before all the college and NFL start. So I mean, it's definitely. I played the early slate. I'm right on the line for cashing. So I'm gonna be sweating it during the show if I cash this early slate or not.
Well, is it gonna be positive or negative if the Mets blow another lead?
I think if anything, that might be a little bit positive. I don't think that's huge. I don't think that game's huge. I really need something a little bit more out of the Red Sox here.
The Red Sox have the bases loaded with 2 outs right now, so we'll see if they can do anything there. But early slate wrapping up. Toronto, the big winners this afternoon. They continue to roll. 14-2 win over the Rangers this afternoon. Big games from Miles Straw and Davis Schneider, so probably not the 2 most popular choices on the afternoon slate, but Schneider was hitting second today, so he got a little bit of attention. But Miles Straw, 4 for 5 with 2 home runs, was probably not on the bingo card for a lot of people.
Second or third time he's done that this year. I'm pretty sure all of his home runs are in 3 games.
I can go a month without a homer and then hit 2 in the same game. So regardless, big win for the Blue Jays. They're 5 up on the Red Sox in the AL East coming into today, so they keep that going. Cubs beat the Pirates 3-1. Then those 3 games that are still going on, the Mets, the Red Sox, both with leads right now, and the Nationals are leading the Phillies 2-0. They're getting ready to go to the 9th. So early slate wrapping up. Mentioned 9 games tonight. Not too much in the way of weather concerns. Roth does have a yellow-green at Coors for some showers around, maybe a late start, but should be able to play. And even if there's a delay, probably not the spot that most people are looking for pitching anyhow tonight. So maybe Ryan Nelson is in play, but doesn't seem overly concerning. Green, yellow in St. Louis, and then a few other greens. So should be all systems go for all the games to be played tonight. If anything changes, if there's any updates to that, make sure to pass that along before we get to lock. We've got a full hour here before lineups lock, so plenty of time to get you all the information you need. We'll be able to go through all the positions. With 9 games, probably won't do the game-by-game approach tonight, but certainly will be plenty of time for questions. We'll kind of draw out the positional analysis a little bit more than usual to try to make it through the full hour here. So first thoughts on the slate here, and as we kind of dive into pitching, not the deepest slate for pitching. You got your 4 top arms are 2 head-to-head matchups. So Max Fried and Sonny Gray in St. Louis facing off against each other, and then Blake Snell and Dylan Cease at Los Angeles facing off against each other. Those are kind of your 4 top-end arms tonight. And then there'll be some guys down towards the bottom that maybe get a little bit of attention if you're trying to fit those top-end bats. TJ, I'll let you go first here. What are you kind of looking at for pitcher exposure tonight?
Yeah, so I'm going with a very distinct strategy today of playing none of the high-end guys and mixing in all of the sub 8K options, basically. And so I'm not playing any Max Fried. I'm not playing any Dylan Cease. Totally not faulting you if you want to. I'm not playing any Sonny Gray. No Casey Mize for me. No Blake Snell. I'm going exclusively the cheap options today. So Zebby Matthews is going to be my highest owned pitcher. Probably gives up a couple home runs, but massive strikeout rate. So he should just be about $1,500, $2,000 more expensive. So Zebby Matthews going to be my highest owned guy. The guy that I'm getting that I love the most for tournaments, and like I feel like I'll obviously leave this to Tim, but I feel like Zebby is probably like a potential cash SP2. But for me, my favorite way I'm still playing the chalky guy there, but I want to pair him with Ryan Nelson. That's my favorite tournament pitcher on the slate today. Projecting for 10% ownership going against the Rockies. Yes, it's Coors Field, but it's also the Rockies. And Ryan Nelson has actually been really good this year. And so he's my favorite tournament pitcher on the slate. Even if he comes in, 15, 16, 17, 18%, I still think he's a really strong tournament play today. And then I'm just mixing in all these cheap options. So Luis Morales, we're probably not going to get a lot of pitches from him, but he's a big strikeout guy. Jason Alexander has been pitching really well lately. I don't like it, but he's cheap, so I'm going to play him. Joey Wentz, I don't like it, but he's cheap, so I'm going to play him. Cade Povich, probably just a long relief guy. I don't like it, but he's cheap, so I'm going to play him. And so Zebby Matthews and Ryan Nelson are by far my favorite pairing today. And then I'm just going to mix and match in all the other cheap guys and totally fade Fried, Cease, Snell, Gray, all those expensive options today.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a path you can take. I mean, it's not like there's a can't miss option in that top group. Fried's not the highest strikeout guy, and tough matchups for the others. Snell against the Padres, Cease against the Dodgers, Gray against the Yankees. So it's not like anybody's got a cupcake here. Obviously, there's some bats you can spend on. So taking that cheaper approach does help you get those guys in. I think that's perfectly viable tonight. We're on a lot of slates. It does make you nervous to fade those top end pitchers. I think it's interesting because this is a slate where you can take the pitching angle a number of different ways. On DraftKings, you can play one ace and one cheaper guy. You can play the 2 cheaper guys together, like TJ just mentioned. You could even do the double spend up. I think that'll be a little bit contrarian tonight. So definitely a unique slate from a situational, how you want to play it perspective. Tim, how are you handling the pitchers tonight?
Yeah, I really don't mind that call by TJ. I definitely think that Zebby Matthews is going to be your SP2 in cash games on DraftKings. So definitely we could start with Zebby. His price is really good. He probably will give up a home run or two, but at 6,700 and we've got Coors on this slate, I think it's a really, really strong price tag. I like him quite a bit. On the high end, though, is where things get a little bit complicated. I do agree with TJ. I don't really like Max Fried tonight. 10-2. I don't think this is a really good matchup for a ceiling. I was surprised that I was getting to so much of Fried in Sims. I'm getting to him 40%. I think you're going Sonny Gray or Dylan Cease as your SB1 to go with Zebby in cash. I'm probably leaning Sonny Gray at 9,500. That's who I currently have is Sonny Gray and Zebby for DK cash. Last time I was on this show was also a Blake Snell appearance, and I poo-pooed him and said he was in a terrible spot. Well, he's pretty much in a terrible spot again, and I don't think he's going to be that chalky. He's going to come in much lower owned than Fried, Gray, and Cease. That looks like according to our projected ownership. So I really don't mind Blake Snell as a pivot off of Gray. I think Snell always has a ceiling every time he goes out on the mound. So I would much rather play Snell over Fried, and then GPPs I might consider playing Snell over Cease and Gray.
Yeah, I mean, with Blake Snell, trying to figure out what he's going to do on a nightly basis is just kind of, ask the magic 8 ball, and it can give you just as good of an answer just because he's so unpredictable. You never know when the command's going to go astray a little bit. And I think both pitchers in that game are interesting from tournaments. I mean, Cease, right? The Dodgers were supposed to be this super team. They've been good, but not to the point where they were kind of expected to be at the beginning of the year. Cease still has a 31% strikeout rate. His K prop is the highest on the board tonight. He's the only one at 6.5 with kind of neutral juice. Sonny Gray's at 6.5, but the over's plus 120. So, Cease and Snell in tournaments, I think, are really interesting. I am with you guys on the not having much Max Fried at that salary. The Cardinals aren't spectacular by any means, but they are a pretty good contact team against lefties. Fried's not a high strikeout guy. So, Cease and Snell in GPPs. I think Sonny Gray is probably your safe choice if you're looking to spend up for cash games. But all that to say, you can just go with some of those cheap guys too. Looking at Ryan Nelson hadn't been on a weekend slate in a long time. So when I wrote him up today, it was the first time I took a deeper dive into his numbers for a while. And I was really surprised at how good they were. I mean, he's been rock solid. He's basically been the ace for Arizona now that Merrill Kelly's gone and Zach Gallen's been bad. So Nelson, I like that call there from TJ. I think he's absolutely in the conversation tonight. The Nelson Matthews pairing gives you about all the salary you want to spend up for bats. We've also got some ownership coming in on, guys like Alexander and Povich, who's not even starting for the Orioles tonight. They're going to use an opener. I don't think I'm getting that cute. Even Morales, I'm probably not getting too much tonight, but you can make a case for him. So, Tim, are any of these cheaper guys outside of Matthews interest you at all?
I don't mind the take on Ryan Nelson at 7K. I do think that Cade Povich would be an interesting GPP pivot off of Zebby Matthews. He's 6K. It's not really an amazing matchup for him, but I just think that maybe getting to him a little bit, maybe get to like 5-10%. So like one or two out of 20. I would play Povich in like a 3 max, but if you're MMEing tonight, I think he's at least interesting in case Zebby happens to fail. I don't mind the Luis Morales take either at 5,500. I think that's decent. If we get another 60 to 70 pitches from him, he could pretty easily pay off his price tag. He's not safe by any means, but I think, given the fact that we're going to want to get to some bats tonight, I do think Morales does give you a little bit of upside and a little bit of salary relief.
Tim, on I guess for both of you, on FanDuel, where Max Fried is nowhere near as expensive, would he be your cash game guy there? Because for tournaments, Ryan Nelson's still my favorite, but I kind of feel like that, like the cash, they're all basically the same price on FanDuel.
Yeah, on FanDuel, Fried is a better play than he is on DraftKings, and the bat does want you to play Fried tonight. I personally still want to go Sonny Gray or Dylan Cease. And I will say another thing, that Zebby Matthews is not a good of a play on FanDuel, where he's 8,400. It's so easy to get a little bit more safety and upside to, for only like $800 to $900 more. So I think it's, for me personally, it's Gray or Cease on FanDuel. And I would be a lot more bearish on Zebby on FanDuel.
Yeah, I don't have a strong take on FanDuel. I'm just kind of that down on Fried generally that I'm never going to say you have to play him. It is a little more palatable there. But I think our projection on him is maybe just a touch too high. I don't know. And it's, again, I'm not trying to make this into some case for using the Cardinals right now. Certainly not doing that. But they don't strike out a ton. And Fried's not a huge strikeout guy. So, yeah, he's probably the safest, but is he that much more safe than Gray or Cease because of the matchup? Maybe. I definitely wouldn't argue with anybody using Fried. I'm not. So, all right. Let's talk stacks here. We've got, again, not a lot of top-end pitching, But a lot of the good offenses are facing the better pitchers. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres are all facing good pitchers. But we still got a game in Coors. We've still got a game in Sacramento with the A's. We've still got the Royals facing the White Sox. About 4 or 5 teams with team totals above 5 runs here. So, Tim, I'll give you the first crack at stacks. What do we like in terms of offenses tonight?
Yeah, well, we definitely have to start with Arizona tonight. They let everybody down last night. They were very, very chalky. Pretty kind of a tough slate last night. But yeah, Arizona with a 6.5 implied team total going up against Chase Dollander in Coors. They're clearly the top stack. They're going to be pretty highly owned. Guys like Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll are going to be very, very popular on this slate. It's definitely if you're going to play them, you're definitely going to want to at least get different at least at SB1 or with your secondary stacks because they're going to be very, very popular. Going outside of Coors, I think that I do like the Kansas City Royals quite a bit. I do like attacking Sean Burke. So the Royals are pretty high up on my board. I know that I talked about Luis Morales as a potential salary-saving pitcher, but I also don't mind the Angels as a stack. I think they're pretty interesting, and I don't mind going to the Orioles either against Jason Alexander.
It looks like SimLabs really likes the Braves. That surprises me a bit. They kind of just fell into the lost middle tier for me. But TJ, what are you looking at for stacks tonight?
Yeah, Arizona, the clear number 1, but I actually have a clear number 2 for me as well, and that's going to be not Oakland, the Athletics. I adore them tonight for tournaments. I think they are a phenomenal stack. One of the reasons I love paying down at pitchers is it allows me to afford Shea Langoliers, Brent Rooker, and Spidey Bomb number 1, Nick Kurtz, plus 325. Second one coming at 75 likes, third one coming at 100 likes. Keep hitting that like button. But I love the Athletics tonight. They are right behind the Diamondbacks for me. After that, it gets pretty spread out. I'm getting to a lot of White Sox. They're my third highest owned stack. Atlanta is 4, Yankees 5, Kansas City 6, Angels 7, in a tie with Houston. And so those would be my kind of top stacks that I'm using the most. But Arizona, my clear 1, Athletics, my clear 2. And then I would say White Sox and Braves are kind of in a tie for 3 for me.
Yeah, I might have to move the Braves up a little bit. I mean, they do have Acuna back, so it's
they're just really cheap.
Yeah, and they are. Well, I mean, that's kind of all year they've been disappointing to the point where it's just tough to trust them. But we'll see if they can make a case down the stretch to at least show a little life, even though the games probably don't mean a whole lot for them, as we get to the final month or so of the season. Tim, anything else on stacks or offenses in general before we get to position by position?
I didn't quite hear. TJ, do you have any Royals at all or no?
Yes, I do. They are kind of in the same tier as so they are my 6th highest owned stack. Same tier as Yankees, Angels, Astros.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with the Royals. It just seems like they always disappoint when they are a relatively good spot. That the guys that everyone wants to play don't come through. That's anecdotal, of course. It's all one-day DFS. So we'll see how they do against the White Sox tonight. They do have a really high team total, like 5.1 runs, which is right there as second or third highest on the slate, I think, the Royals. So, all right, let's go ahead and kick it off position by position here, and then we will get to your questions at the end of the show. We should have plenty of time for those. So, Tim, why don't you lead us off with catcher? What do you like at catcher tonight?
Sure, yeah. So, Shea Langoliers at 5,900 is probably your top option at catcher tonight. You do have to pay a pretty big premium for him at 5,900, but we do have cheap enough pitchers tonight that you can get there. Hunter Goodman is obviously completely fun as well. Del Castillo at 4,500, batting right in the middle of that Arizona lineup. I think he's a pretty decent play. Logan O'Hoppe. Did we just get that Angels lineup? I'm assuming he's in it. But yeah, 3,500. He's a pretty good salary saving catcher over on Draftkings. On FanDuel, I think you can play a catcher tonight, and definitely, somebody like Shea Langoliers at 3,500 is a really, really strong play. Trying to find out. Yeah, Sal Perez at 2,900 on FanDuel, I think is a really strong play if you need salary relief.
Yeah, the Angels lineup came out just a minute ago, right before you started talking there. So Neto, Shawna, Trout, Ward, Moncada, Adele, Rengifo, O'Hoppe, and Teodosio for the Angels tonight. So no major surprises in that group, and that game has a 11-run total now. So sneaky high. Obviously, a good hitters environment there. In Sacramento, TJ likes the A's a lot. I like the Angels a lot. I think both of those teams are certainly stackable. Didn't really give my thoughts on stacks there, but Angels, A's, I'll probably be underweight the Royals for the reasons I just mentioned. I can't ignore the Diamondbacks, even though they struggled a bit last night. And as the guys mentioned, we do have some interesting options at catcher with the spend-ups, Langoliers, Goodman, Del Castillo in that number 5 spot for Arizona. So a position where you can probably spend up tonight. If you're looking to go a little bit cheaper, you've got a Yainer Diaz or a Drake Baldwin in that kind of middle tier. Probably one of the nights where I actually wouldn't recommend the 2K like punt type approach on DraftKings. You could probably play David Fry, I guess. Hitting cleanup against a lefty would probably be where I'd go if I was looking under 3K on DraftKings, but he's not a must play by any means.
It's really ugly under 3K on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Normally I would recommend a punt there, but you're right. Outside of Fry, there's really nobody.
Yeah, Fry is the guy if you're looking to go cheap. Does have a decent power profile in his career against lefties, but that Cleveland offense sputters quite often, so not a must play by any means. All right, TJ, anything else you got at catcher or where are we at for likes? And kind of just give us a little recap here of where we need to get.
Langoliers is my top guy here by a pretty considerable margin. Del Castillo's coming in number 2, and then Hunter Goodman number 3. Even though I really like Ryan Nelson tonight, that doesn't mean Hunter Goodman is not going to be taking him out of the park once as well. So like Goodman quite a bit. Yainer Diaz, I think, is a nice play if you got to go a little bit cheaper. Baldwin's obviously in a good spot too, and then Ben Rice as a kind of contrarian option. In terms of the likes, let's see how many we are at right now. We are at 63, so 12 away from the next Spidey Bomb.
All right, hit that like button. 12 more to get another Spidey Bomb, and plenty of time to get those out to you tonight. So and start preparing those questions if you've got those. We'll get to them after we get through the positions here. A reminder before we move along, don't forget about Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs is your home for season-long fantasy football content and best ball content. You can get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from award-winning experts, Sean Kerner and Chris Raybon. Fantasy Labs now has an app that allows you to get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, and lineup advice on the go. You can sign up now at Fantasy Labs with code RG15 for $15 off. Again, busy time of the year. I know a lot of people are doing their season-long drafts, their best ball drafts. College football starts next week. It's going to be a busy time for sure on the sports calendar. Preseason football, if you're grinding that, is going on right now. I don't know about you guys, but TJ, you do any preseason NFL? I've been told there's a big edge.
No, it's not for me. I just don't have not even time, but just like brain bandwidth to invest into that right now.
Saying it's kind of been the same, it's only 3 weeks, right? It's not like you get this long payoff for it. So, Tim, are you grinding the preseason DFS streets?
No, I was actually going to like a week ago, but I decided against it. So I'm not playing. I've just been focusing on best ball right now.
Well, shout out to Chris Jimino over at RotoGrinders. He's given all the stuff you need for the preseason games. If you are interested in playing those, check out his stuff over at rotogrinders.com. And it's going to be a busy time of the year here coming up. So football right around the corner. All right, let's go ahead and move along to first base now with the football chatter out of the way. TJ, I'll let you lead off this one. Where are we looking at first?
First, I have a question for you guys for single entry. Would you go Corbin Carroll and Darnell Hernandez, or Brent Rooker and Colson Montgomery?
I'd go Corbin Carroll
for the White Sox.
Carroll and Hernandez.
Okay, good. That's what I got right now. We're gonna leave it. First base today. Who do I like at first base? Let me switch over there. It's Nick Kurtz. Spidey Bomb #1 is my favorite first baseman today. I have him in about 20% of lineups. I'm going to be trying to get as much Shohei Ohtani as I can as well. He's in a good spot. Like, Dylan Cease still gives up a lot of power to lefties. And he's going to be very, very low owned today. So one of the benefits of playing a lot of cheap pitchers is I get to play a lot of Shohei Ohtani today. Lennon Sosa as a cheaper option. Miguel Vargas as a cheaper option. I do like the White Sox today. Christian Walker in a nice spot. Tyler Locklear if you're want to play in Coors, and then Vinny P. I don't like. I'm kind of, they're a tier 3 stack for me on the Royals. I don't love them, but I just kind of like them. They're fine, but I do really like Vinny P as a one-off.
I do like Vinny P as a one-off as well. I mentioned being underweight on the Royals, which I will be underweight on the stack, but I do like him individually. Christian Walker against a lefty again, assuming Povich comes in for the bulk innings there. I think those are a couple guys that are super interesting as individual one-off plays. And the ownership is largely going to be spread around here. Right now we've got Shonwell at the highest projected ownership. I'm not sure I buy that. I know he's cheap, but he really doesn't have a ceiling. So if Shonwell does happen to be chalky, probably okay skipping that. But I don't know. I have my doubts about whether he'll be the most popular first baseman. We'll just say that. Tim, what do you got at first?
Yeah, so I was just building out a interesting little Angels A's game stack for my single entry team. I wonder if I'm going to land on that or not as my official team. But yeah, first base on DraftKings. If you have the money, if I have the money, I'm going to go Nick Kurtz over Ohtani, even though that's pretty risky. But I do like Nick Kurtz quite a bit. So if I have all the salary at first base, he would be my first click. Tyler Locklear at 4K is obviously completely fine. Vinny Pasquantino at 4,800, I like a lot. And Christian Walker at 4K is completely fine. And then Nolan Chanel at 3.3 would be my favorite of the cheaper end first baseman.
All right. And everything, pretty spread out here. Lots of different options. I mean, I even think if you're not on Ryan Nelson, Bernabel is probably in play. Miguel Vargas is pretty cheap. Locklear in your Arizona stack. So actually quite a few options at first base tonight. Just kind of goes to show that the offensive choices are a little bit deep. You got more than one or two options at these positions, and first base is particularly deep tonight. And not one guy that absolutely stands out as I absolutely have to have this guy. So that also serves to spread out the ownership a little bit. Second base maybe slightly different. In terms of is there one guy you absolutely have to have? We'll see if salary is a thing or not a thing. If this is the spot you want to spend top dollar. Tim, what are you looking at second base tonight?
Yeah, did TJ give us first baseman?
I started with.
I started with him.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, all right. So second base, Ketel Marte. There's two Arizona guys that I'd be prioritizing in cash games tonight. One is Ketel Marte. The other is Corbin Carroll. Second base is always kind of a drag. So I think spending up there is a really good play. You could even if you don't want to stack Arizona, I think you could play Marte as a one-off. If you don't have the money for Marte, I don't mind Jackson Holiday at 4,300. Jazz Chisholm at 48 would be okay, even though I do like Sonny Gray tonight. I do think that Ozzy Albies at 3,500 is a decent play, and Ryan Ritter down at 2,800 just gives you really, really cheap exposure to Coors Field. He's not an amazing hitter, but I do like his price tag.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't hitting ninth, but that's the straw he was dealt. So he's hitting ninth. But it is ninth at Coors in a game with a 12-run total, 11 and a half, 12-run total. So, but this feels like a spend spot. I mean, Marte, given the opportunity cost at second base, I mean, there's several fantasy points of difference between Marte and the next guy in our projections. It's not really all that close. Marte's got a 321 ISO against right-handed pitching. I mean, it's just crazy numbers. I mean, TJ, you're going cheap at pitching tonight. I have to imagine the reason behind that is that you want to try to get some Marte into your lineups. Assuming that's correct, or otherwise, what else do you like at second?
Yeah, Marte is a very big priority for me today. He's going to be my highest owned bat on the slate. I'm playing him in, let's see how much. 41% Ketel Marte today in 150 lineups. Second highest owned is Lennon Sosa, followed closely behind with Jazz Chisholm. I think Jazz is a great spend-up tournament option today. Absolutely hammering the ball lately. Jackson Holiday, Jose Altuve, and then if you got to go cheap, Kaiser or Ritter, as Tim mentioned. And I don't mind as like a super low-owned tournament one-off, some Brandon Lau.
Yeah, Lau is he's up to 5,100 on TK and only 2% projected ownership. So we know Verlander is still susceptible to power. It's not a great park for offense by any means, but I kind of like that call. All the guys that are, the other spend ups outside of Marte, like Altuve, Lau, maybe to some extent Gleyber Torres, Jazz Chisholm, but mainly Altuve and Lau, I think, are really interesting tournament plays that people who are up at that salary level are doing that to try to get up to Marte. So don't mind those calls if you are looking to spend up and be a little different in those large field GPP contests. Kind of lost track here. TJ, where are we at on Spidey Bombs? Are we caught up?
We are at 82 likes, so we have caught up. It is time for Spidey Bomb number 2. And I just got to pull up someone with was looking at Shea Langoliers and saw the odds on him are absolutely horrific. And so we're going to go with somebody else. So I need to.
I was gonna give out a Tater, and I wanted to take a couple of these athletics, and I was like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah,
TJ throwing out Langoliers at plus 110.
Yeah, and it just
my!
That's not the odds. I was just making that up.
No, he's plus 175 on DraftKings.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how these get bet. The edge is so big on these.
I mean, plus 175. That's like 90 home run pace for a season.
Spidey Bomb number 2. We are going with a stack that I like. I wrote them up today as my Steaky stack in the expert survey. Plus 550. Colson Montgomery. So we got Nick Kurtz at plus 325, Colson Montgomery at plus 550. Third one coming at 100 likes. So keep hitting that like button.
Yeah, somebody's laughing all the way to their to the bank with a Miles Straw to hit 2 home runs ticket somewhere at some insane odds. But we'll see. I'll see if I can find one on Twitter, a ticket of all these home run bets. There's always some crazy bet slips out there. So we'll see if I can find a Miles Straw to hit 2 homers. Let's see. You both did second. Let's go ahead and move to third base now. TJ, what do you like at third today?
Yeah, third base is to me the weakest spot on the slate today. So I'm just really putting pretty much just whoever's in my stack. I think my favorite option is Brett Harris. Full minimum price punt for the Athletics. That would be my top choice here. Blaze Alexander, Jordan Westberg, I don't mind. Manny Machado at really low ownership. If you can get up to Jose Ramirez, great, but I think it's pretty tough to do today. That's about it here. I feel like on FanDuel you have Carlos Correa at much cheaper, but I don't know. I don't want to play him here all that much at high ownership. I kind of want to fade the high owned Carlos Correa.
Yeah, this position kind of stinks today. It seems like that's been the case a lot this year where it's been a try to get up to Jose Ramirez, but I just don't feel like that's optimal today because you've got like Marte and Carroll at similar prices that I think are just a better use of salary. So if that takes Ramirez out of play, and on DraftKings it probably takes Caminero out of play too. That's kind of why I think people are gravitating towards Correa, and I think he's fine, but he will be somewhat popular. Maybe Moncada is a pivot if you like some of the guys in that Angels A's game. His numbers have quietly started to look really good against right-handed pitching this year. Good park for power. So Moncada I've warmed up to kind of as the day has gone along. Tim, what do you like at third base tonight?
I'd rather go with Kyle Karros or Brett Harris as my cheap third baseman today over Correa. Obviously, people can play Correa if they want to, but I think that he's going to be very, very highly owned, and Karros and Harris really aren't going to be that highly owned. So I'd rather just save money there. I agree with you on the Moncada call. Outside of getting up to Jose Ramirez, I don't have much interest in any of these expensive third basemen outside of stacks. I would really want to as one-offs due to their pricing. So this is a position that I'm going to be looking to save here with either Karros or Harris. And I guess if you're playing cash, Correa is fine. But like I said, I'd rather pivot to one of these cheaper third basemen.
Yeah, tough spot tonight. I think if you want, you can fill that last and see. Don't mind the call on Karros or just trying to get some cheap exposure to Coors because the position is it's pretty thin. You're not going to have a 15 deep player pool at third tonight, probably even if you're doing 150 lineups. I mean, TJ, how many third basemen do you have in your pool, period?
14.
Okay.
No.
That's more than I would have guessed.
20.
How many at more than double digits?
3.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm playing like literally just guys in stacks here. Harris is the only one I'm winning off.
All right, let's go ahead and move to shortstop. Maybe a little bit more exciting here. Not too much else to go through at third base. So, Tim, we got Witt, we've got Perdomo, we've got Gunnar, we've got Neto at the high end of shortstop tonight. Who are we liking?
Yeah, shortstop's really good tonight, as it often is. I currently have Neto at 5K. I like the Angels tonight. I like Neto in this spot. If you have 6K, Bobby Witt, definitely fantastic. I don't know if I really like Perdomo that much. That's a lot for him. So yes, you can play him. Yes, it's Arizona. Yes, they have, a 6.5 implied team total. But if I'm going to get exposure to that game at short, I'd much rather just pay 4K for Ezequiel Tovar. So I think Perdomo would fall to fourth overall for me at the short, maybe even fifth overall at the shortstop position. This isn't going to be a position that I'm going to be looking to punt. So really, it's going to be one of these high-end guys for me. I currently have Zach Neto.
All right, TJ, what do you like at shortstop tonight?
Perdomo is my highest owned guy that I'm getting to, followed by Colson Montgomery. I do really like him for tournaments tonight. It's why he's a Spidey bomb. Zach Neto is another play that I like quite a bit. How many likes are we at right now? 95. So 5 more people hit the like button right now, so I can give Spidey Bomb number 3. It's Gunnar Henderson at plus 400, a guy that I used to love going to all the time. We've gone away from him a little bit lately, but we're going back to Gunnar right now. So one more Spidey Bomb at 125 likes. So keep hitting that like button. But we got Nick Kurtz, Colson Montgomery, and Gunnar Henderson as the 3 Spidey Bombs. I have 5 guys over double digits here. So where I'm very spread out at third, at shortstop, I'm very condensed. And it's Perdomo, Montgomery, Neto, Henderson, Bobby Witt. And then when I need to go cheaper, it's Daryl Hernandez.
Yeah, Hernandez I think is fine for a cheaper option. Tovar's getting some ownership. Tovar's still 4K though, so it's not like you're getting him as a punt level play. Trickier spot tonight. I like the Neto call. I tagged Neto on FanDuel. I think he's a lot easier to get in the lineups on FanDuel, but I'm underweight on Witt. Again, I'm generally underweight on the Royals, and at 6K and 20+% owned, at least projected. Just tough for me to stomach that tonight. I'd rather spend up on the top Arizona guys. So Neto, a little bit more accessible. Colson Montgomery, I agree, I think is strong for tournaments as well. All right, we've just got one more position to go to, and then we're going to have plenty of time for questions here with Locke. I thought Locke was at 7:05. It's not till 7:10. We might not be able to make it all the way till 7:10 tonight. That's another half hour yet. And we've only got outfield left to go, but we'll hang out as long as people got questions or we got things we can recap or go through. So let's move to outfield here. TJ, I will let you go first.
Yeah, so Corbin Carroll is going to be my priority here. He's my second highest owned bat behind Ketel Marte. And well, it's, you may think, well, that's obvious. Corbin Carroll is everybody's priority. But I'm playing 40% of him in 150 lineup. So I'm really, really loading up. Because I'm spending up on him a lot, it means I need a cheap option. So Kobe Thomas is the guy that I'm going to a ton, batting cleanup for Oakland. Oakland again for the Athletics.
And twice, so 20 push-ups.
A lot of Kobe Thomas for me today. A lot of Brent Rooker for me today. Shohei Ohtani, if I can play him in the outfield, I'll play him in the outfield. I like going to the White Sox when I need to save salary. So Mike Tauchman and Andrew Benintendi. And then both Byron Buxton and Ronald Acuna are like pretty severely underpriced.
Yeah, Acuna at that salary on DK, 5,300. Again, another guy that's maybe a little easier in general just to get on FanDuel with how their pricing is, but he was a 6K plus option even on DK when he was healthy earlier in the year. So tough to decide at the top between, like, especially if you're doing GPPs, between like Carroll, Rooker, Acuna, maybe some others in there as well. Tim, what are you doing in the outfield?
Yeah, definitely Corbin Carroll. I think he's the top overall bat on the slate. Definitely play him in your cash games. Like I said about Ketel Marte, it's fine if you just want to play Corbin Carroll as like a one-off. But
if you had to play one, if you only had the money to spend on one of the two for cash games, is it Carroll or Marte?
It's probably Carroll, but the thing is, it's like there's a lot of other really good outfielders too. So maybe
there's not a lot of really good second basemen,
right? So maybe in a GPP. I would go Marte, but it's definitely really, really close. So if you want to get away from some of the Coors chalk, my favorite of the spend up outfielders, like over 5K outfielder, is Brent Rooker at 5,600. I think he's a really spectacular play. I wanted to bet him to hit a home run, but I'm not going to get plus 225 to do it. So I'm not betting it, but I am going to play him in DFS. I really like the Angels tonight. So Mike Trout at 4,600. I think he's a really strong play as well. Mickey Moniak in cash games at 4K, batting leadoff. I know it's the Rockies, but that's a pretty good price, and to get exposure to that game. Michael Harris, Marcell Ozuna are definitely, I think, pretty strong options at the under 4K mark. Mike Tauchman at 3,300, I think, is a pretty strong play as well. And then, as TJ said, I believe Kobe Thomas at 2,400, batting cleanup. Yeah, he could definitely be a cash game play or just part of an athletic stack.
Yeah, the Phillies have announced that Zach Wheeler is going on the injured list with a blood clot near his right shoulder. So that's a scary situation. There's no further information at this time. He's got to have some tests when they get back to Philly. So rough day for Phillies fans. They got shut out by the Nationals, and now their ace with a little bit of trouble, obviously. And blood clots are kind of scary. So first and foremost, we hope he ends up recovering all right. And but not sure when he'll get back to the baseball for the Phillies. So obviously they're going to try to get him back before the postseason, but that was just announced after the game today. So wanted to pass that along. TJ, anything else for you in the outfield that we haven't covered yet?
No, that is everything. And then we're 12 likes away from the next Spidey Bomb.
All right. So 12 more of you need to hit that like button so we can get one more Spidey Bomb here. We've still got over 20 minutes to go before lock.
I do want to give out a Tater real quick.
Absolutely. Tater away, Tim.
Yeah, Nolan Chanel plus 800 on DraftKings. Might be able to find a better number somewhere else, but that's where I bet up here in Maine. So Nolan Chanel plus 800.
That's pretty good odds for anybody in that park. He doesn't hit a ton of bombs, but better than the plus 175 for Langoliers anyway, if you're looking for a bigger payday. So, all right, we'll take the questions from the YouTube because we've got plenty of time. We'll also take them and want to make sure we prioritize those in the Discord chat. So get them in the RotoGrinders Discord live stream chat channel. Again, rotogrinders.com/Discord. You don't have to be a premium subscriber, just a regular RotoGrinders member to get in there and ask your questions. So hop on in there again, the live stream chat channel of the RotoGrinders Discord. I am going to pull up the YouTube as well here and make sure that I've got that up. And all right, we will get to the questions. And yeah, actually, I was going to do this anyway. So I saw a question in the Discord for a recap of pitcher on in cash games, and I kind of let you both give your approach here since we did pitcher at the start of the show. And I know TJ is handling it a little bit differently than normal tonight. So TJ, 2 minutes on how you're handling your pitcher pool tonight.
Yeah, so my favorite pairing, and I know this is quote unquote wrong for cash games, but honestly, if I were playing cash, I'm tempted to throw my single entry in cash and just roll this out anyways. And it's Ryan Nelson and Zebby Matthews. They're my favorite pairing by a pretty significant margin today. In GBPs, I'm going to be fully fading Max Fried, Dylan Cease, Sonny Gray, Blake Snell. If I were to play, two of those guys, it would probably be Sonny Gray and Blake Snell. But I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the Dylan Cease, Max Fried fades at high ownership. And then outside of that, I'm just going to be mixing and matching a bunch of these cheap options. So Jason Alexander, Cade Povich, who's that athletics guy, Morales. So a bunch of cheap guys that I'll just be mixing and matching. But Ryan Nelson and Zebby Matthews, favorite pairing by far.
I'm just going to ask TJ this question that was in the YouTube chat. Are you getting to any raise against Verlander, and are you playing any Verlander in your portfolio?
I have 0% Verlander, and I have 3 5-man raise stacks in 150 lineups, so not very many.
Okay. Yeah, so my breakdown for DraftKings, at least for cash games, it's going to be Sonny Gray and Zebby Matthews for me. If you don't want to play, I agree with TJ. I don't really like Max Fried tonight. I especially don't like him on DK at 10-2. I don't think this is a really good spot for a ceiling from him. So he'd be a stay away for me in a 3-max single entry. Obviously, if you're building out like 20 or more, you can get exposure to him, but I don't really like it. I would be underweight the, around 27% projected ownership that he's showing. If you want to get away from Gray, Blake Snell on DraftKings is my favorite pivot, followed by Dylan Cease. Pay down options, I am okay with getting to Ryan Nelson at 7K. I don't mind Cade Povich, but Zebby Matthews is my preferred SP2 in GBPs and in cash.
All right, I'm going to go down the list of the Discord questions here. Alexander the Don with a 3,700 or less DK cash outfield choice tonight. I know Talkman is in that range at like 3.3. Michael Harris is in that range. Yastrzemski is right at 3,700. Let's see. That's most of them. Adam Frazier, Randall Grichuk. I was
having the same question, actually, and I ended up landing on Talkman, but I was torn between Talkman and Yastrzemski.
I think those would be my top two as well. Probably no preference. Both leading off in the same game against, average to below average pitchers. So Yastrzemski and Talkman, I think, are both fine.
Spidey Bomb number 4 is scrolling at the bottom there. We got Byron Buxton at plus 350. So Kurtz, Montgomery, Buxton, and Gunnar Henderson as the 4 Spidey bombs today.
All right, D-Rock threw a couple in the Discord as well. DK, GPP, Cease, or Gray at pitcher. I think Gray is your cash game play. I'm going Cease in tournaments. That's how I am approaching those two tonight, but they project pretty similarly. And a 2v2 that I'll throw to you, Tim. DK tournaments, the 2 White Sox or 2 Angels, Shawnuel and Rengifo, or Vargas and Sosa.
Chanel and Rengifo for me.
The Angels guys are the ones there. Another 2v2 for a DK GPP from New Generations. TJ, I'll throw this one to you. Brandon Lau and Fry, or Ramon Urias and Will Smith?
Lau and Fry.
I agree with that as well. Do think Lau is interesting from a GPP perspective and kind of like some of those Rays guys a little bit at low ownership. Not a core stack. I mean, as TJ just mentioned, you're not like going all out to get Rays, but Verlander is projecting somewhat well and projecting for a little bit of ownership. It's just kind of strange to me given the way he's pitched this year. I'm out on Verlander as well. All right, Matrix is here in the YouTube, wants to know who your favorite stack is on FanDuel. I mean, I presume if ownership doesn't matter, salary doesn't matter, it's obviously Arizona. But TJ, who's your favorite non-Arizona stack?
Athletics.
Tim, who's your favorite non-Arizona stack?
Angels or KC. They're really, really close.
I'll go with the Angels myself. Devin says it's really hot and humid in Kansas City today. That should help the ball fly. I can confirm it is hot in the Midwest today. Cody Stamp says Colby Thomas or Austin Martin in DK Cash. That is definitely Colby Thomas. He is kind of your lock punt value, hitting in the middle of that order in a good park. TJ, FanDuel GPP, you like Yohan Moncada or Correa better?
Moncada.
Mike and Drew want to know Jose Ramirez and Jordan Westberg. Are they okay as one-off? Sure. If they fit, third base is pretty weak tonight, so that's one of the last positions I'm filling in. All right, I got about 10 minutes left here. Again, we'll take questions as long as they come in. We can take off a little bit early. Luke Cage has the same question. Favorite pivot off of Arizona? It's probably not different between the sites. So the answers, TJ says the A's. Tim says the Angels or KC. I like the Angels as well. Our Blink 182 Rue arrived late. Didn't hear if anyone had thoughts on Sean Burke as an SP2 in large field tournaments. Not great matchup, but he's been decent. I'm probably out on him. I think Ryan Nelson is more interesting. TJ, I know, agrees with that. And some people were asking about a few other pitchers. Go ahead.
I do have Burke in the pool, though. I like Ryan Nelson better, but Burke's in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody was asking about like Lorenzen in the YouTube chat earlier. He's just now coming off the injured list, so you probably don't want to play him. Tim, you got a favorite?
There are a few from higher up on in the YouTube chat as well. Top 2 pitchers for a FanDuel GPP.
Yeah,
so Cease, I think. Cease and Gray. I don't like Matthews as much on FanDuel at 8,400.
Yeah,
as I do on DraftKings. So I think it really would be Cease and Gray for me. I do like Cease's ceiling a little bit more. So I think my official answer on FanDuel for GPP is Dylan Cease.
I think it's Nelson 1 for me, then Gray 2. What about you, Cards?
Yeah, I'd go Cease and then Gray, and I'll be interested to see what Matthews' ownership is over there. I still kind of like him on FanDuel, but I do agree not as much as on DK. We do have one more in the Discord. Allen's Club says, is Brandon Lau okay as a one-off in DraftKings single entry? Absolutely. I think Lau would be a great one-off play if you're not playing anybody else from Tampa for sure.
DK Cash, Tim, you want Kurtz or Langoliers?
Yeah, I saw that question. It's Probably Kurtz for me.
Anderson has pretty wild reverse splits for a lefty. It's pretty strange to see that from a left-handed pitcher, but they're pretty wild, significant, at least enough to where it catches your eye for sure. Again, another person asking about Lorenzen. Multiple people. Why is everybody asking? Lorenzen has like
Lorenzen.
He's got no ceiling and he's been injured. Am I missing something?
I don't think so.
He hasn't pitched in 40 days.
Yeah, I don't really know why people are talking about him.
Don't play Lorenzen tonight. I know it's the White Sox, but no.
A couple of Tampa questions of thoughts on a Brandon Lau, Caminero, and Simpson mini, and then if you're playing Simpson, would you pair him with Brandon Lau or Caminero?
I'm always a sucker for throwing Simpson in some lineups for the stolen base upside. I like Lau over Caminero.
Agreed.
All right. Multiple people are saying that Lorenzen did get up to 85 pitches in his rehab, so there probably won't be a pitch count ceiling. I mean, that's fine. I get it. But
he sucks.
His season high in strikeouts is 7. So, you're just not getting much of a ceiling. And I know he's been pitching rehab games, but the major league games, even against the White Sox, are just a little bit different. I almost always tend to shy away from guys coming off of long absences at the major league level, and it rarely burns you. Really, it's a different type of game. Even against the White Sox. So, for better or worse, out on Lorenzen here. All right, let me check the Discord again. No more questions there. Keep throwing them into the YouTube if you want. Somebody asking about Hauser. I'm scrolling way up now. He's a pass for sure. Looks like the early slate has basically just ended. The Mets did hold on and win 3-1 today against the Mariners. They used Diaz for 2 innings, but they got the job done. So the Mets finally held on for a victory. Tim, did you cash with your early slate lineup?
No, Boston completely dudded the last 3 innings, I think. So,
all right, nothing else from Boston means an L for Tim. Try again next time. All right, let's go ahead and double check here. I don't see anything else for questions, so we can cut off a couple minutes early if nobody else has anything. Weather doesn't seem to be a concern tonight. I haven't seen any major updates there from Raw. I think we are all systems go. Paul, would you play Wentz? We're going through all the cheap pitchers. I mean, Wentz, Hauser, Saccone, Alexander, Povich. It's tough for me to
play Alexander, Ciccone, or there's a few there that are big no-nos.
Tim, do you have any interest in any of these cheap guys that I've rattled off? I know you're a single entry guy.
Did you mention Cade Povich?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Ryan Nelson is okay, but I don't really want to play Wentz, Alexander. I think Morales is okay at 5,500. I mean, I like the Angels also. I just think Morales is cheap enough, and the Angels can be weak enough where that play could work. But I really don't have any interest in some of these other guys that we've already mentioned. I don't have any interest in Sean Burke, Tyler Anderson, not really.
All right, we were here at the top of the hour. We started the show with the thought that the slate locked at 5 after, doesn't lock until 10 after, but we've kind of drug through everything here. Lowboy wants to know Tim's favorite best ball stack, so we're transitioning to football now. But Tim, you mentioned you've been doing some best ball stuff. You got a flag plant on anyone or anything?
Well, I've only built 4 teams so far, so I'm not really able to say what my favorite stack is.
Sure, 100%. Anybody on 100% of the 4?
So far, I'm 100% Lamar, but that's it.
That's always a dub when you get 100% Lamar, for sure. All right, Ravens fan here speaking. TJ, anything else for the good of the audience before we get out of here?
No, that's it. That's everybody have a good rest of the weekend, and we'll see you early tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be back here tomorrow. We'll be breaking down the Sunday slate for you. As always, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. For Tim, for TJ, I'm Justin, and we're out of here. Have a good one.